Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. As always, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in, for sharing, for liking, for commenting, and guess what? For coming back again. I truly, truly love and appreciate each and every one of you because we're all about sharing with the community some much needed conversations. I want to say special thanks to the amazing guests that joined us last month for our Faith Walk series. I was encouraged, and I hope that you all were too. So, special thanks again to Dante Kennedy, Antoinette Lawrence, Coach Early Jackson, and Pastor Barbara Montague. Thank you, thank you, thank you. November, can y'all believe it? The year is almost through. This month's theme is dun, 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 the elephant in the room. And we are all about having tough conversations over here, and I want nothing but the best for us. And this month's segments are geared around financial planning, Cuffing series. Cuffing season 101. It is not just for the young people either. And we will close out with Speak Up. Tonight's segment is about financial planning because it is something that's dear to my heart that I feel like sometimes we are not prepared for some things as they happen. So we have a guy here tonight, my friend Manny, who's going to share with us about financial planning. We have talked about some of these things, but guess what? It bears repeating. So help me welcome and introduce Manuel Santiago, who is going to break down financial planning.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. It's been a long day. I felt like I was getting tongue tied, but how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing so well. So
Awesome.
well.
Awesome.
Glad
Awesome.
couldn't go golfing today, but it was still a good day.
Yes, that's good to hear that it was still a good day in spite. So over here at Jen Cares, we start off with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, most people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. John Beckley. Again, most people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. What are your thoughts on that?
It's absolutely 100% correct. You'd be surprised how many people kind of go about their lives and whether they're going in between jobs or they're just kind of putting away money, so to say, aimlessly. They don't have a plan. And then when they get to retirement, they're like, oh crap, I only have $100,000 to retire on, if that. How do I even spend it? And they thought they were going to retire at 60, then it was 65, and now you're working until you're 75 because you don't want to become a burden to your kids, potentially.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And tonight we're going to talk about how we can plan, how easy it is to plan, and how soon we need to be planning. So
Yeah, we need to be planning like yesterday.
yesterday, oh man. But if I forgot about yesterday, I can at least start today, right?
Yes, every journey, every impeccable, amazing journey begins with a step. One step in the right direction. And when you have that plan to do so, and hopefully you have someone to help guide you through that process, that will help make things so much better, easier, and more efficient as you travel down that road.
Awesome, awesome. So Manny, tell us about yourself. Who is Mabel?
I'm a financial advisor. I've now been a financial advisor now for 13 years, have my own practice, and started, from the bottom. Now I'm here, right?
Yes.
But I had just been so blessed, and really, I come from an immigrant family, coming from Puerto Rico and stuff, and so I know what it's like to be savers, right? And just like that kind of environment, and having that fear of investing, and having that fear of just the unknown, really. But also really living the idea and seeing that, like, your parents living off of Social Security, or your parents or your grandparents doing that, and it's like that kind of becomes like the norm. But if you're 50 years and younger, you can't do that. So you need a plan,
Right.
and the sooner you can start that plan, the better. And so really, a passion that I have with this practice and with what I've been able to do is I love teaching, I love coaching. That's really part of what I do with my clientele, because it's not just transactional. It's that relationship that we're building and helping that, not just you, but your future generations and your kids as well.
Got it. So did you always think that you would be a financial planner? Like,
No,
how did it come about?
I wanted to be a sports agent.
Okay.
Seriously, I wanted to be a sports agent. And then a mentor of mine came to me one day and he said, if you want to be a sports agent, you need one of two things. You need an athlete tied to your hip. I didn't have that.
Mhm.
Or, you needed to basically, just grit and grind to the bottom um, of an agency and hope that an athlete kind of catches your eye and says, I trust him, I want to work with him, but that none of that is guaranteed. Because if you're
Mhm.
not a lawyer, you can't get into the actual negotiations of contracts and things of that nature. And this was, of course, before the Rich Paul rule kind of came into effect, where they're kind of bypassing that a little bit. But it's still very much so attorney privilege and things of that nature. So he said, listen, athletes, actors, they fire agents all the time.
Mhm.
But if you're a money manager and you're trustworthy and you do a good job, they'll never fire you. So he was like,
Mhm.
so he basically approached me in a way where it's like you can work with young and aspiring people as well as getting, those top high end clientele if your journey takes you there. And I said, I'll try it out. And 13 years later, here I am.
Got it. Got it. And 13 years in means that you have learned some things.
You didn't see these gray hairs? Well, yeah.
So you know what you're talking about, because 13 years is a good amount of time. And granted, even sometimes a couple of years being in a practice, you can learn some things that can help somebody that knows nothing of the field, because you're intentionally trying to learn how to help somebody else in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I definitely I would love to stress the fact that it's not because I've been in for 13 years as to why I'm where I am or why I have the knowledge, right? Because you can do the same thing over and over again and never move anywhere, right?
Mhm.
So it's really important or pressed upon the advisor to really want to become educated or really want to cater to the client to get them to that point and stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's why or what took me to where I am today and why I'm so big in education and really spreading that love and just spreading that knowledge so that we can all become wealthy or at least better off than what you were going to be.
Got it. So, what is a financial advisor?
Financial advisor is very simply, it's number one, you gotta be fully licensed, right? So there's all kinds of licenses that are out there, but obviously, you need your life, your health, your 63, and most importantly, your seven. Right? So you need the seven, you need those different things so that you can be called those things, so that you can help people, as well as the 66 as well. And you can advise people and you can teach people and give them an actual recommendation, right? There's people
Mhm.
who can advise people, but not everyone is an advisor, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Mhm. So when looking for a financial advisor, there are some things I should be looking for, because someone can say, "Hey, let me help you with your finances," and they
yeah.
can't really, or like, what are some things that we should look into? Recently, it's been like a big thing on social media about red flags. What are some red flags when trying to identify the financial advisor that's right for me?
That is a absolutely great question. And the thing that I tell people all the time when it comes to those questions is number one, find someone who will educate you. All right, that is the most important thing. Don't
Mhm.
find someone who just says, "Oh, you need a Roth IRA. Here goes a Roth IRA. Take it." You know what I mean? Find someone who says, "Here are your options. Here are the pros and cons of each thing.
Mhm.
Here's how they work. What would you like to do? Here's my recommendation, but what would you like to do?" And
Mhm.
then when you have someone who is now educating you, and now we have this rapport, this relationship, that's what you want. You
Mhm.
try and steer away from people who are just kind of telling you what to do and
Mhm.
saying, I'm going to make you 50% each year, or I'm going to, this and that, or find someone who actually legitimately cares and wants to teach you. And then I think that you'll have something special in your hands.
Got it. Got it. So in that vein, how does the financial advisor help me? Like, why would it benefit me to have one?
Absolutely. Well, let's say somebody wants to become a dancer, right? Do they just watch YouTube videos and become dancing, or they get an instructor? Do they get a coach, right?
Mhm.
If you want to train for a competition, right? If you want to get to that better part, like you might do decent by yourself, maybe,
Mhm.
but if you want to get good at something, you will always have a professional by your side who knows a lot more than you with
Mhm.
it and can help walk you through it and make it as most efficient as possible. That's the second time I said that word today. And I want
Mhm.
you to take note. Efficiency is where it is. The one commodity that we can never get back is time, right?
Mhm.
So, right, the beginning of my sentence is forever gone in history. Like
Right.
it's never again. So when you can't get back, and once you actually start making money and growing money and becoming the person of who you are, all of a sudden it's not about money anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden it's about time.
Right.
So if you can find someone who can now, make your life more efficient, make it so that you're spending your time with your loved ones, your family, your friends, whatever it might be that makes you happy and stuff, and you can have that trust, that's what makes it better. That's why you need one, because they know more than you. Things
Mm-hmm.
change every single year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can help you be ahead of the curve, with that, and make you more money, hopefully.
Hmm. Very nice. Very nice. Hmm. So, how much would one need to put to the side uh, to begin moving towards financial planning? Like, how does it work? Like, what would be the steps? I came to you. I need you to be my financial advisor. What's the steps?
So that's a great question. So whenever we're doing like a financial plan and we're building a financial plan, right? Like what I focus on, or really what it is that I do, is I help clients build a financial portfolio. That's really what it is that I do. I explain to you what a financial portfolio is supposed to look like, what are the different accounts, pros and cons of each thing, and then we look at, okay, like what's the budget, right? Like what are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
Like are we talking about $50 a month? Are we talking about $5,000 a month? Then what is it that you want to accomplish? And you
Okay.
have to wear two hats, right? The first hat, it says, okay, if we put this much money away, then that's going to affect 50 years from now, right? And if we put this money aside, yeah, you'll live lavishly, or maybe you won't, or that'll still affect negatively or positively 50 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So really figuring out the budget, really figuring out what's most important. The minimum should be $50 a month, but I mean, when you're really looking at it, you have to look at it where you want to be putting aside 10 to 20% of your annual income for savings. Like that may not be right off the bat, but you definitely
Mm-hmm.
want to be working towards that.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. All right. What do you tell the person that's a little hesitant about doing that? Like, but I need my money now. I want to spend it. I want to keep up with the Joneses, you know?
Uh, Well, part of that comes with education,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, there's a delicate balance, right? There's a delicate balance when it comes to being a financial advisor, where it's like you're teaching, you're educating, but like you still want better for that person.
Mm-hmm.
But if that person's not ready for it, then you have to be patient for that person, right? All you can
Mm-hmm.
do is educate and be patient for that person to come to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can just very simply say, like, because you have to also understand, like, there's reasons why they're like that, right?
Right.
And I can attest to that because of culturally, like that's what it is, right? Like, I had nothing growing up. Now all of a sudden I'm making X amount of dollars, and now I can buy this drink, buy these clothes whenever I want to, and they're so used to living paycheck to paycheck that it just becomes the norm, right? You go from making $30,000 a year, right? To now all of a sudden you get your first pay increase and you're at $50,000 a year. You're like, oh my gosh! But in your head you're like, that means I can blow 20 grand because I've been living off of 30 grand my whole like these past years. So now it's like it makes no difference to me. And so it's hopefully it's about educating. It's hoping that they're receptive to it. It's really hoping that that they can see the future of what could be with their money. It's like, listen, I want you to buy these things or travel 10 years from now, not just now,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right?
So you said a good thing right there. Well, big piece of you working and you're getting this much, but then you get an increase. And like, oh, party people, and it's in that time because you've been surviving off of where you were. So the hope is that you be a little bit more mindful with that extra of make sure you got for rainy day, um, and putting stuff to the side. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm not telling nobody today that I'm perfect. She don't do right all the time either. But that's the hope that if you are getting extra, that you are trying to be more intentional with that extra.
Yeah, and I think it's also about, like, hey, I like to really propose my clients to really be asset driven, right? Like, not just like, okay, like you buy this car, but this car's a depreciating asset. It's not gonna be worth much to you later. Is it really worth that $500 car note? You know what I'm saying? Or you're buying these clothes, you're buying these Gucci bags for what? You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about buying properties. Let's talk about buying an asset. You know what I mean? And one of the things I've been really telling a lot of my clients, I'm like, listen, you got kids, you know what I mean? Like, all of these kids out here, I can guarantee you, they don't need any more clothes or toys. I promise you. So what you need to do, I just try to give them thoughts, give them something to think about. Where I say, listen, what about, instead of getting all these items here, what if we just told family and friends to say, just give me $5, $10, and then we open up a 529 account or an Upland account. And now all of a sudden, these kids got hundreds of dollars growing for them. That by the time they're 18, they got like 10 grand or 15 grand potentially. You know that, and we just got to change the mindset. Like, what are we really talking about?
Right,
You know?
right. And that's a good one because, like you said, yes, I remember as a kid, my mom would buy different gifts. But then as I got older, I understood like mommy doesn't have it, or mommy does have it, or mommy has to take care of this. I was like, I don't need that. I was at a place of maturity for that. Every child is not there, obviously. So that's a work in progress. But I also saw an article in the last year where they were giving out the stimulus checks and things. A mom invested in a business for her child so that when the child gets older, the child has some funds coming in, can work that. And she's going to work it now, but it's also bringing in revenue, and, she's looking towards the future and not just today.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. I
Yeah.
love that. I love hearing that.
Yeah. But unfortunately, sometimes we only see today. It's like, I need this $20 for today.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people say life is short.
Mm-hmm.
Life is short. You got YOLO.
Yeah,
right?
YOLO.
But listen, life can be long too.
Yes.
I saw a crazy statistic the other day, and it basically said that you can live almost as long in retirement than you do in your 30s, right? So like 30 to retirement, people are living 30 years in retirement. People are living to 80 and 90 years old. Like that's a thing. Like that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is? So it's like that doesn't mean you want to work to that point to 80 or 90 years old. And remember, retirement is not, always necessarily kicking your feet up and doing nothing, but retirement is working because you want to, not because you have to. You have to create opportunities for yourself.
Yes. Working because you want to, not because you have to. Can I do that right now? I'm teasing. I mean, I want to because I want to keep my house.
Of course.
But I also need to. But okay, all right. But yes, in retirement, the hope is that you're doing it because you want to, and I think that brings pleasure too, because after working so many years, you do want that break. I hear from retirees and they're just enjoying sleeping in a little bit.
I guarantee you, I guarantee because I've had so many people retire, but I guarantee you, they enjoy that for 6 months, tops.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you retire, every day is Saturday.
Yeah.
But you need a purpose in life. So a lot of times they pick up a part-time job or they pick up a different little ventures and stuff. I mean, and honestly, it's statistically proven that people who work later in years live longer because they have a purpose to get up for.
Yeah. All right. So friends, retirement may be every Saturday, but hope is that, and again, that fulfillment of just feeling like needed in some capacity gives you that self-worth and that get up. I had care for a dog for a little bit, and having that dog, you got to get up and walk that dog, and it gave you a purpose to, hey, you got to get out and see that sunshine, whether you felt like it or didn't feel like it. Even on those rainy days, that dog didn't want to be out there, but you wanted to take the dog so they go to the bathroom, but it gave you that purpose and that oomph to get up and keep moving.
Absolutely.
Okay, so retirement and things of that sort. So we talked about why it's important, and we talked about some key, components to look for when looking for a financial advisor. How often should you reach out to your financial advisor once you have, built that relationship? Like, can I just call every day, or I'm going to the store? Should I buy this for $1,000, or should I not buy this? Like, what's that relationship look like?
That depends on the relationship with the advisor. Everybody is different. There are some advisors that are out there that will it's very transactional, or it's just very like, hey, I'm just updating you on stuff or whatever. And then there's like relationship advisors. Like I literally have relationships with like all my clients. Like they call me up, ask me all questions. And honestly, I want that. Because before you make some dumb decision or whatever, I'm like, talk to me. Like, let me talk you off this ledge. Like, let me tell you why not to do it.
Yes.
Because there's so many things out there. And I think what tends to happen is people just get impatient, right? People get impatient. They want it now. They want success so desperately. They heard of something out there. They want to be a part of it. They get that FOMO, with that. And it's just, they want, I got it. I want it, And so sometimes it helps. Sometimes it doesn't. But, I keep it real with them. I let them know, like, listen, you can do it, but, it might not be the best thing.
Yes. I saw the quote. It said, act intelligently, not quickly. And sometimes, you're so quick. You're like, this is going to be great. This is my big break. And then you get it and it breaks down, or it doesn't work out how you thought it would. And you're heartbroken because you've invested not just money, but time and energy and things of that sort. And that could be overwhelming and frustrating to some people. So definitely reaching out if it's going to be that. So when somebody is meeting with you, what are the pieces that they should bring? Are you looking at, their debt? Are you looking at their past, how they spent money in the past, how they're currently spending money? What are the things that somebody would have to do when trying to get their finances in order?
So the first step for me always is education. Like I literally give a crash course financial literacy 101.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Before we talk about anything, we educate to talk about really what exists that's out there, pros and cons and everything like that. Then after that point, then it's about okay, would you like to move forward? Because then the ball's still in their court. Like you can take the information I gave for you, that could be for free. You can take and do whatever you want. But
Mm-hmm.
if you want to move forward, then it's about okay, like let's talk about it. I want to see what statements you have. Do you have life insurance? Do you have retirement accounts, investment accounts, whatever? Bring those statements here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need a budget. That some people need help with that budget, and I can certainly work with that. But um, but a budget is so important. It's so crucial. It's so crucial because that's when people mess up.
Excuse me. I don't appreciate you coming on the show cussing with this B word. Like, who wants to do a budget? Because
Listen,
it's telling me what I can and what I can't spend. I don't like it. I don't like it. How
listen.
do you
This is
help those
what was the
people?
quote? What was the quote at the beginning of this thing? What is that? Huh? What was that quote?
Fill the plan.
Don't you need that plan?
Ah,
You
ah,
need that plan,
you're right.
right? You can't just walk around aimlessly. You can't just do things.
Yeah.
With that, one of the biggest things I tell my clients, especially early on, is I say, would you like to spend money guilt free?
Mm,
Wouldn't everybody like to do that?
yeah.
And really, the biggest way and the way that you do it is by handling your business. Do what you
Mm,
got to do. You can spend that two, 300, $400, $500. You know what I mean, on whatever it is, because you've already set enough money aside for your children's accounts, your investment accounts, your retirement accounts, your life service. Like you got everything taken care of. This was purely discretionary income that you can spend.
mm,
Period. That and like, but if you're just saying, oh, I want it, I got it, I'm good to go. I'm getting it paid next Friday anyway, so I should be good to go. That paycheck may not always be there. Like,
mm.
let's be real. Like, if this pandemic showed you nothing, this pandemic should have told you nothing is guaranteed. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, things will happen. So the
Right.
budget is so important. And the biggest thing of where I see people just dropping the ball is cars.
Mm,
Ladies, gentlemen, please, please do not blow money on cars. And here's
mm,
what I mean by that. Statistically speaking, you should not be setting aside, okay, more than 15% of your monthly income towards your car expenses. Now,
mm,
I'm talking about car note, I'm talking about car insurance,
mm,
I'm talking about your gas, I'm talking about the 10% per year that you're supposed to be putting away for the equity of the car when maintenance is due. So if you have a $20,000 car, that means that you need to be setting aside or need to have aside $2,000 per year in the
mm,
event of maintenance issues. Like
mm.
when something happens to your car, like it shouldn't go like, oh my gosh, I got to put it on a card. Like, nah, you should have budgeted for that. You should
Right.
have knew that was coming because you knew
Right.
tires come almost every year. You know what I'm saying? Like who knows what happens with the engine, brakes, rotors, things happen. You need to set
Right.
that budget aside. So
Right.
all that comes through. So let's just say, for example, all right, let's just say that I don't know, you bringing home $3,000 a month. Okay,
Mm,
that means okay that you should not be spending more than roughly $350 per month, 400 tops for car insurance, car notes, gas, and the money set aside.
mm,
Now, what do people do? They put 25% away, right? Now, what
mm.
did these mean? I said earlier, I said people should be putting away what? 10% of their annual income, hopefully
Right.
closer to 20% for investing, savings, retirement, life insurance, benefits, asset driven activities, right?
Okay.
But what happens? When instead of putting 15% away for your car expenses, you're putting 25% away. So where's that 10% take away from?
Mm,
Take away from your savings, your
right.
investment. right? And
Right.
now instead of putting away 10% or 20%, now you're putting away 10% or maybe 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why it's so hard to get out because what are car notes? Car notes, 3 to 5 years. That's what a car note is. So now you're trapped
Mm-hmm.
in this bill for 3 to 5 years that you can't get out of. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So car expenses by far by head and shoulders the worst expense in your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, downsize if you have to. All right, you can trick it when you got it. If you don't got it, don't trick it. Like it,
Got it.
you can't
Got it.
do
Got it. Okay. Okay. And that makes sense because again, sometimes you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you're paying more for your car than you are for where you're living sometimes. Or more important about the car and not about where you're living and things of that sort, or going without in other areas. And again,
it. Right.
the hustle and grind is real and the sacrifice that it takes to do the different things that one wants to do. It's part of life. The joys of being an adult. I wanted to be a Toys R Us kid, didn't work out too well. Even they went bankrupt. But
I would have never thought they go bankrupt.
you know, that's because we can't be Toys R Us kids. That's what it is. They was letting us know, no, you got to be an adult. But that's the big part of where our finances are going, and really looking at it, like really paying attention to how much money is coming out,
Right.
and it's not always fun. Like this is this is an elephant in the room because nobody wants to talk about money all the time. Nobody wants to talk about saving. Nobody wants to talk
Yeah.
about really planning for the future. Because it is that YOLO, or I'm living my best life, or I worked for it, I earned it.
Right.
Yeah, but there's a tomorrow. Will you be able to live tomorrow too?
You
How
know
you
what,
living
Jen?
today?
You know what we need to do? We need to normalize. Here's the thing, because I know it's crazy, but it's like when people really start seriously dating, and I know it sounds crazy because what do most people say when they're about to start dating? Does he got any kids? Baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, whatever it might be, right? All these different. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't stand it. Like I got to check to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, the number one reason for divorce is financial.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one. It's not infidelity. Infidelity up there. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
Infidelity up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But the number one reason is financial means.
Mm-hmm.
You got somebody who's a saver, somebody who's a spender,
Mm-hmm.
or vice versa, or just nobody's planning for anything, right? So what you need to normalize, and I know it sounds crazy. It's like you need to let's talk budget, let's talk
Yeah,
credit.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? People are more willing. I don't know how PG this podcast is, but people more willing, to go home for a nightcap, okay, than
mm-hmm.
talk about a budget. No, you ain't
Right.
getting off it. It's like, wait a second, we was just
You're
touching
right.
the key.
You're
Like,
right. You're right. You're right.
like that's the level of intimacy. There's those barriers that are there. Like, hold on,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with this, but not that. But
Right.
even though
Right.
if we don't get this right, we can't do anything. I thought you wanted to go to Bermuda to see the pink sand beach. But you
Yeah.
can't do it if you're not. So you, what are we talking about?
You're right. You got to find that balance. It's funny. I saw the and next week we're talking about cuffing season because around this time those things happen. But also in our finances of a guy saying like, no, I can't go there because that's not in my budget, and the girl being offended. That's a good thing that he has a budget. He's financially sound, trying to have his things together. If anything, you should have a budget too. And sometimes I think because when dating and things come around, I think the guy's supposed to do everything. And there's sometimes that the guy is doing some things, but the hope is that the other person's doing some things too. And that's in a traditional relationship. Whatever relationship, you should communicate what it's going to look like for what works best for you. Point blank, period.
Everything is about communication and expectation. When
Yes.
relationships fail, it's because the party didn't communicate what the desires were and you have one party who says this, another party that's expecting this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's unmet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like maybe the significant other wanted to be a dependent and have the other person take care of everything, and the
Mm-hmm.
other person really wanted a partner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where we
Right.
can both do things and do this
Right.
stuff. You know what I mean? Because that's really what, I mean, obviously there's traditionalists, right, that
Mm-hmm.
that you were mentioning before and stuff like that. But it's like, I think a lot of guys who are out nowadays, especially people who got their stuff together, they're not really looking for dependence. Like, I don't got any kids. I don't want a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you bringing to this table? You
Right.
gotta be more than your beautiful self.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to build an empire. What you doing?
Yes, yes. And that's a big part where the expectation, the finance piece gets you in trouble because nobody wants to talk about it unless, oh, you buying me this, you buying me that. But even after you woo the person, that honeymoon season comes to an end. It's like, all right, I push those things, I got you. Now I got to put this to the side for what the future is like. But wait a minute, what? They all distressing things. And it's that part of communication and hoping that you can respect the person who's trying to be financially savvy because they're looking beyond just today to look towards the future.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a
Tough
very difficult
conversations.
conversation.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that. It was like
Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody
nobody.
would just rather just like, oh, just like let's just enjoy this vibe right now.
Yes,
Like,
it's
oh,
this
let's
vibe. That's
vibe then. Let's talk about what this future gonna be like.
a vibe will get you in trouble because it'll be going good. And somebody still got to pay that check at the end of the day. Somebody still got to keep them lights on at the end of the day. You gonna get hungry at the end of the day. So it still takes all those pieces.
I hope you like cereal for dinner. Like,
Like Frosted Flakes again. I mean, we got Cinnamon Toast Crunch if you want that. I mean, we got options.
but you know what though? I splurged for you. I got that almond milk.
Yeah.
You like
That's the thing. And then they'll like be like, Netflix and chill. And it's different versions of Netflix and chill. A guy was asking, like, is it a bad thing? It's not a bad thing, but just knowing the relationship that you have with that person, because obviously you're doing that because maybe you don't have the funds to go out. Because nobody's going to a $100 restaurant every day, every night. That it doesn't work.
Foolish.
It's not it. I mean, it's in some people's budgets, but even in the budget is still like, but let's do something different. And what is going on beyond me paying all this money? Are we even building something, or are we just paying all this money? But yeah. Always good conversations talking about it because again, it comes to communication. And money gets us in trouble, even friends. You hanging out with your friends and going out and somebody don't have enough money and you footing the bill. After a while, come on, sis, come on, bruh. You got to bring some coins to the table too.
And I think a tough conversation as well. You know what I mean? A lot of my brothers and sisters out here who have become financially comfortable, I'll say, very comfortable, are going to have to learn how to say no to their family, to their peers, with that, because they see you successful, they see you doing things, but you are not. You ever hear that crabs in a barrel?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be able to get ahead as much if you're constantly dishing out. I'm not saying like, look, once or twice, take some people out, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not trying to have my friends and family be another Cardinal.
Right.
Like,
right.
Crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's a tough conversation to have. That's a tough conversation.
Absolutely. Because it appears that you are living in that deluxe apartment. We talked about last month what I think is supposed to Jefferson's, and it's like they move on up to the deluxe apartment in the sky. And it appears that you're doing so grand, and you are doing grand, but it's been because of discipline and really saving your money and sacrificing some things. Now I can't go to that restaurant. I'm gonna have this bowl of cereal tonight with the almond milk. I'm not a fan of almond milk, but I mean, whatever floats your boat,
But come on to the dark side. Come on with this almond milk.
But you made the sacrifice where it wasn't like this lavish thing all the time. It was that hard work to get there. And some people think like, oh, you got it anyway. No, sis, no, bro. I'm working daily to maintain because again, I'm looking for the future, not just today. And that's, I think, the most important piece of that financial planning is that it's not just for today, it's for your future. On that day when you can't get to work, on that day when you're not working anymore, on that day that the world shuts down. Like, who was ready? Whether the government gives a check or not gives a check, like, were we okay? Like, could we make it? So
those who built a solid financial portfolio were okay.
Yeah. And those that were blessed to continue to have a job were okay.
Hats off to the nurses, doctors, all essential employees.
Absolutely going out in the field every day. That it was hard work, and now everybody's trying to find a new version of a normal and adjusting as unemployment came to it. And I said, wait a minute, I should have been on that unemployment line. It was going a little bit better than me. I don't know. But again, my hope for those that even got the unemployment when they was giving out buku cash is that they were still using it wisely and planning. But that's another conversation too, because some of them were, some of them weren't. Some of them were saying they had businesses, they ain't had business. But again, that's another conversation too. I don't want no trouble with nobody. Whatever you did worked out. I can't bail you out.
Right.
Because it talks about that piece of boundaries. Right. So let's talk about emergencies, because we could save money, but what about when emergencies comes up? What is that process? What's the words of wisdom for that kind of situation?
So like putting accounts aside or putting money aside for emergencies? Is that what you're talking about? Should one put money to the side?
Well,
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. So when I converse with my clients, right? a lot of times I like to use myself as an example, right? Because that
Mhm.
is helpful, for them. So you look at somebody who is comfortable, right, with their living, but like for me, I know there's like the Dave Ramsey's out there that say like, oh, 3 to 6 months worth of your income, worth of income should be in your bank account, right?
Mhm.
And so now, for me personally, I feel like that's a waste of money because you're not making any money in the bank account. It's not
Mhm.
happening. The bank is
Mhm.
making money off your account, but not you.
Got
You
it.
know what I'm saying? So I would never put 3 to 6 months worth of my income in a bank account and just let it sit there just to sit there. You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like for me, I'm very aggressive now. Not everyone has to do this. I mean, I encourage this, you know what I mean? But it's a matter of what your risk tolerance is, right? So for example, for me, you will never find a month in which I have more than like $3,000 to $5,000 in my bank account. It just
Mhm.
won't happen. It'll
Mhm.
never happen because there's nothing in my life that can happen in which I will need more than $3,000 to $5,000 in that given day. Now, of
Mhm.
course, I have access to other liquid assets, like my stock account, my retail account, my brokerage account, all these different things that I can certainly access and get within 3 to 5 days. But like as far as like my bank account,
Mhm.
3 to 5K, that's it. Everything else completely invested in
Mhm.
my retirement accounts, in my stock accounts, in my brokerage accounts, with it just growing for me constantly.
Got it.
With that. And that's how you exponentially grow your wealth. And then as you accrue these different assets, you get properties, you get all these different things, then we can really do some amazing things.
So you said a word about stocks.
Yes.
For the person that knows nothing about stocks, what's some words of wisdom of the benefits of stocks and the wisdom of know when to buy, when to sell, when to hold them, fold them, all that fun jazz?
It's so interesting that you bring that up. Because what I do with my clientele, whoever is interested, is I teach them how to trade stocks appropriately. Because there are so many things out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many gimmicks. Oh my gosh, join my Discord. You'll make 500% in a month, in a week,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Look at all these, and it's just look. Could it be true? Maybe, but like
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying things from somebody who's been trading stocks for the better part of a decade. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like that's not always how it works. You
Okay.
know what I mean? But like there's different indicators, and not to get too far into it, talking about RSI and moving averages and support movements, not to get into that, but really this. I mean, I want you to think of stocks. If you're new to getting into stocks, always think value. You
Okay.
have to think value because it's all about when you buy it. Like if you buy a property, if you buy a house or whatever at $250,000, okay, but everything around that house is like 400,000 or 350. That's
Mm-hmm.
good value. You'll
Right.
buy that because you know it's going to grow to that point, right?
Right.
But if a house is $250,000 and everything around it is 100,000, that's not good value.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to fall into trouble with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'll take a stock example with it. Let's look at Tesla.
Okay.
Everybody loves Tesla. Elon Musk, whatever. I know he's got some stuff going on in the news right now, but Tesla itself,
Yes.
I mean, people love, Tesla cars and everything like that. But Tesla, January, February this year was valued at $800 to $900 a share.
Mm-hmm.
Never reached that point ever,
Mm-hmm.
ever. Do you think that'd be a good time to buy? No. You've never seen a stock go up like this. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and then eventually goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of value, look at the price. Look at like, okay, where was it? Because eventually, what wound up happening is that in the end of February, beginning of March, Tesla went from $900 a share all the way to 565 a share.
Wow.
Crazy. Now, the novice people are like, oh my gosh, they panic and the people who got it at 900 and it went down to 565, they probably sold because they're like, I don't want to lose any more money, which is the worst thing you can do. If you
Mm-hmm.
in it, you don't lose money till you sell,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
down, that just means you down. If
Mm-hmm.
you didn't sell, you didn't lose it,
Right.
right? So you just committed now for the long term.
Right.
So
Right.
smart investors and prudent investors like myself and like what I like to teach, we bought Tesla. I bought Tesla at 590 a share. You know where it's at right now? It's over $1,200 a share.
Mm.
So I mean, it's about value. It's about where you buy these things, and that's how you really determine with that, you got to look at stocks just like property, just like anything. With that, buy it with good value when it's at its discount.
Got it. So I know Cash App allows you to buy stock, and there's some other apps and things. Um, and it really depends on, I guess, what you buy in, but is Cash App a bad place to start with buying stocks, or the other apps that have the option?
I really think it depends on what kind of investor you're trying to be, right? So I mean, Cash App can be helpful, right? Because you can have like small amount of money and buy stocks, and allow it, as opposed to being on like a Webull or E Trade or even Robinhood, where you like need the entire amount to buy the share,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can certainly be helpful. I mean, when it comes to investing, getting started is always the best thing. Just start. If
Okay.
it's Cash App for you, let it be Cash App.
Mm-hmm.
But find an advisor who can put a plan together so he can like teach you what you're doing. So
Yeah.
that you're just not buying things aimlessly. I
Right.
like Nike. I'm buying Nike stock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying Apple. I like Apple. I have an iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have a plan.
Right.
Have a systematic approach that you can develop and you can get
Yes.
to it.
Yes. And don't look at it every day, because it goes up and it goes down, because the stocks is
Well, that depends on the kind of trader you're going to be.
oh. See,
Swing
again,
trading
you
is
got to
a
talk
lot
to the educator. You gonna educate us? I don't know. I don't know. But
Well,
I
I
have a friend.
mean,
She look at every day. She's like, oh my gosh, I lost all this money, but then the next day it's up again. So like, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's like a wave.
it really depends on what kind of trader you want to be if you're buying stocks, right? So there's three kinds. There's a day trader, swing trader, and basically a long-term investor. Day trader is buying and selling every single day. You need at least $25,000 to be a qualified a pattern day trader. Okay, so that's not most people. All right, then there's a swing trader who's looking to buy a stock and hold it for like a couple days, couple weeks, maybe months, and then sell. That. And then there's like the long-term investor who's just looking to buy that stock and hold on to it, for however long, they want to hold on to. And stuff. So you just have to understand what kind of trader you are. And if you're a long-term investor, yeah, buy it. Don't look at it. Check it in 6 months or a year.
Got it.
That. But if you're a swing trader, which is what I am, or a day trader, what I am as well, it's like you're checking it every day, even after hours and pre-market.
Got it. Okay. Well, you find out where you are. Talk to a financial advisor so you know what it is you're doing. I also hear about Bitcoin. Good, not good. Explore it. Should I run? What you think?
So, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, and a cryptocurrency is a form of payment. Is it going away? No, it's going to be around. That. And Bitcoin just happens to be the big honcho, right? Like that's the big one that's going to be around. Now, if you don't have $65,000, you're not going to be able to buy a Bitcoin, right? Unless you do, of course, like a cash thing where you can buy a partial trade or a partial stock of it to watch it go up. But again, it's about when you buy things, though. You know what I mean? Like I remember when Bitcoin in the summertime was crashing all the way down to $32,000 a share, and it was just at 50. It crashed down to $32,000 a share. And this is what I'm telling people, now's the time to buy. And they're just like, no, it's not worth anything. It's gonna be worth nothing. It's like, but didn't you just want to buy it at 50,000 a share? And now it's 32 and you don't want to buy it? Like now's the time you want to buy it.
Yeah.
And but people chase the FOMO. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, I know Elon Musk just came out with a new altcoin, that a lot of people getting on it and stuff. And I just tell people, be careful. Can you make money? Sure. That everybody has a mom's uncle's mechanic who made money off a Dogecoin. Everybody, right? Because they just chase the FOMO and the run. That doesn't happen that often. If you make money, be thankful, because when you invest like that, it's not investing, it's gambling.
Got it. Oh, wait a minute. Investing could be gambling, huh?
It certainly is. That's what it gives the rush. That's the endorphin that it actually releases. So when you not to get like weird, but like when you gamble, it releases an endorphin,
right?
That gives you that feeling, that euphoric feeling of, like that high that you get. So when people do with stocks, that's the feeling they get too. Letting it ride.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit there, and hope it goes up. Yeah. And if it doesn't, then but if it does, ooh baby. I made money. I'm the man or woman.
Wow. Wow. So I have another question for you, because we have some people that are like, it feels like a scheme to me. It might not be a scheme. Some people may be succeeding. I don't know. I'm gonna ask a financial advisor because you're the professional. If you give me $500 today, when it come back around to you, you had 2,000. Now I know some people that done gave they 500. It came back around. It wasn't their turn a couple more times, and then they finally was like, "Well, we just gonna give you this because we feel bad." No, where the money you promised me if I gave you 500? Is that a scheme scam? Is it legit? Then these little pyramids.
It is a multi-level marketing scheme. It is a Ponzi scheme. It is, yes, it's a scam. You know
Okay.
that. If you hear something, listen. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. Like that's just use your head. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's like we get caught up in this feeling of like I want to make this money so badly, and I heard somebody made this money, and I want it too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with that, but we gotta put the hard work in. You
Yeah.
gotta put the like investing is it can be very lucrative. You know
Yeah.
that, but that's if you have the plan, if you
Mm-hmm.
put it in place. If you just go about aimlessly and pick this stock here and pick this stock there, you may make money, but you may lose money too.
Right.
You know
Right.
what they so you have to know the risk going in. But yeah, if you hear someone is like, listen, you join our Discord, you're gonna make 300% in a week. Come on, cuz. You know what I mean? Like, or hey, you give me $500, I'm gonna give you 2,000. Like, show me the paperwork.
Yeah.
If you see something like that and there's
Yeah.
guarantees, find the paper. Show me the paperwork. I
Mm-hmm.
I will give you $500 in cash right now. You show me that paperwork where you're gonna give me $2,000 if I give
Yes.
you 500.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
be afraid because
Right.
I think it's like a weird inclination in our head that's like, oh my gosh, if I ask too many questions, then they might not let me do it, or they might like run away. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like no, ask the questions.
Yes.
Ask the
Because if
questions.
they run away, then you know what it is. If they stay, you still got to be careful though, because they might be like just that good schemer. They a smooth talker. Nah, because this is what I'm going to do. C. Nah, too many C's. There's something going on.
Listen, find a reputable person, fully licensed. Like it's just like a contractor. When you go to a contractor and you say, "Oh, I can do this whole house for $5,000, man. I'm gonna fix up this whole house, man. I'm gonna do it." You give him that $2,500 because you gotta give him 50% up front. Never see him again.
Hmm.
Never. You know what I'm saying?
You
If
ain't
it
asked
sounds
enough
good to be true, it
questions.
is.
Can I have your phone number, your address, and everything? Because you're not gonna keep taking my money. And it's funny. We have a neighborhood app in my I live in the county, and somebody put out information. I had this person come. They took my money and didn't do good, or they took my money and they did some work and it still wasn't good. So it's good to really do your research, and that's something that you're saying, like doing your research, not just blindly going to
Mm.
somebody. Because if we blindly go to too many people to get some work done, it's
Yeah,
gonna be some shabby work, and you can be like, "But I
yeah,
put all this money."
absolutely. And that's why you have to, it's always nice too to be referred
Right.
to someone. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? If you have someone who has a financial advisor that they're using, has a contractor, has
Mm-hmm.
a hairstylist, whatever it might be, I
Mm-hmm.
think people are more conscious of their hair than they are their money. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that come on, you go to one person, ain't
Yeah.
nobody else touching my hair.
Yeah.
You know, like y'all more specific, y'all more conscious about that than
Yeah.
your actual money in your future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't be in our business like that.
I'm
But
just
I
saying,
mean, we all know though. I have a barber, and like I could go sit there. He knows what to do. I go to somebody else. They like, okay, you want me to use this blade? I don't know. He's my barber. He knows everything. And if he's unavailable, I just have to wait, or I go to his house because I got that connecting things. But yeah, you build that relationship, you build that rapport, you trust that person.
yeah,
Again with the mechanic too. Like after you find a good person, you want to stay with them because they're gonna do you right.
yeah,
You're gonna get an oil change, it's gonna be fresh oil in your car. You're not gonna drive away and there's no oil in your car. They're gonna
yeah.
do
They're
you
gonna do it
right.
right, do it
So
up right.
so yeah. And I brought that up. Someone said this is so helpful. I brought that up because we're coming into the holiday season. And as we come into the holiday season, some of these, gimmicks and games are going to come up because, like you said, we want to buy all these things for the kids for Christmas, or we want to put on airs. I've been in enough situations where people where they buying some stuff to outshine. Look, if I ain't got it, she ain't got it. She gonna dust this off and make it do what it do. And sometimes we are going above and beyond, and we don't always have to do that when it's not helping us for the future and beyond today.
Right.
So
Hit
good.
that budget, that B word.
Because we got a plan. Oh, and you got to swallow it. Because again, if you want these things, you got to do those things. Because if not, you're not going to. And I got a friend, she's talking about budget. She like, we talking about a trip and things. She was like, I gotta wait till like this month to see if it's gonna work out. I respect that. Why? Because she's making sure her budget and things are lined up. And the same with me. I could say I want to do something, but if I'm not actively putting the funds to the side, when it comes, are you gonna be ready for that $3,000 bill, or will you be prepared because you put something to the side for it instead of saying I'm gonna do this?
Right.
So yeah.
Appreciate.
Oh goodness. What's another one? Another one that calls me often is and I don't want to because you say a name, then you put it out there, and it's like y'all coming for me, and it's so I'll say it this way. I was invited to this talk about financial planning. I guess is what it's supposed to be, and I was disappointed because I guess I thought I was going for something else, and to get there and they were talking about financial planning. Now, again, financial planning is a great thing. It's something that we need to know. It's something we need to do. But I just felt like it was like the scheming and the scamming again. Because there's some financial institutions and programs out here that are doing some things that may or may not be those things to really help us. And I guess I'm saying all that to say, going back to your piece of doing your research.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Let me see. I'm going to share with you what it is. Hold on. Give me a second, friends. I'm going to share the person that comes to mind. So that's the person that the group that I heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll say this. If you're looking for a financial advisor, make sure that it's what they do full time. So sometimes, like, people say that they're a financial advisor, right? But they're really part-time. You know what I mean? They're just doing it like make a little extra money on the side or whatever it might be. Or you have to see what their motive is, right? You have to see what the motive. That's why it's like it's all about education. See what the plan is. Like, hold on, are you trying to like be my financial advisor? Or are you like trying to recruit me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you like what's going on here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So also, I mean, look up the company. I think if you look up the company, you can see the history of it. Like, I know for me personally, it's like if I'm getting life insurance or something like that, the company's got to be around for like at least longer than I've been alive. You know what I mean? I need to know you're gonna be there.
Yes.
It's like, so it's a lot of trust. Yeah, a lot of trust issues when it comes to that.
Yeah. So the funny part is that when I sent it, you read it like you felt the struggle that I had of people possibly being scheming and scamming, or that's how I felt when I went. They may be doing some great work for some other people, but if I didn't feel that comfortable or that connection to want to do it, and that's another thing too, we really gotta trust our gut, because sometimes we feel like there's a red flag and something is off. He's like, but I'm gonna try it. And sadly, I had people who I held at a high regard that reached out to me about them, and I was like, but I still don't feel like this is right. And just because it's working for them or whatever thing they got going on with it doesn't mean that it has to work for you, or doesn't mean that you have to explore it. You want to trust your gut. You want to trust your gut.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust your gut. See what the motive is, and it's unfortunate because there's stuff like that goes on that really puts a bad name out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? People are actually trying to do, a good job, trying to help you.
Yeah. Somebody actually called me on Sunday, and I was like, hello. And it was like, yeah, we were supposed to meet a while ago. I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Because they don't forget your phone number. They don't forget your name. They say, Jennifer, yes, remember we talked? I don't forgot you, but you really forgot me. But because I put my name on your paper, I got to change the last digit. So they can leave me alone. But I get it. I respect their hustle, but I also respect my money and my time a little bit more than I get myself jammed up in a situation that might mess me up a little further.
Yeah.
So another thing you said was about insurance, and that was one of my pieces, connecting with you as well about life insurance, because fortunately, communities reach out to GoFundMe a little quicker or crowdsource funding a little quicker than the plan that we could do for ourselves to be prepared for those kind of situations. Um, and it really kind of, I don't want to say triggered, but it really, I guess, triggered or like put in my ear a little bit when someone passed and their significant other was like, this is fake love and things of that sort. Nobody's looking out. And granted, there are some situations where you have some pre-existing conditions where you can't get life insurance. But again, then we need to work out another plan, because though people's hearts are touched to give, they're not always touched. And if you don't meet your goal that you put out there, you're going to be upset. But there's some things that we could do to try to prepare ourselves for that. So I want to highlight the importance of life insurance, the different types of life insurance, and to tell people how cheap it is to get it, that they could get it, and help their families when they do, because we all live and we all will die, to be prepared. So can you share all those pieces for me?
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your experience, and I can certainly, I concur. Like, I understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So before I say anything, what I will say is you get a lot of different objections over stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm not trying to have, you know, my husband, wife run around with another husband, wife when I'm dead and gone with all this money. But you still got 3 kids though. Like,
But you still got to pay for somebody got to
you
pay for
know,
your services.
but all that. So what I will say is this, it's very interesting, that I'm gonna use my man TD Jakes,
Got it.
the great TD Jakes, right?
Yes.
And he said this sermon. He said this sermon years ago, many many moons ago, and he was talking about life insurance, point blank. And he said, "How can you say you love someone and not have life insurance?"
Mm.
And I was like, I was getting to think about that, and I was just like, wow, like that is so true. Because how can I say I love you and then when I die, all you got is just debt and liabilities?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's it.
Right.
Great, you got the house, but can you afford this $2,500 mortgage? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Can you afford to continue to take these kids to private school or whatever it might be? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you do these things? Can you
Right.
afford $10,000, $15,000, to pay for the funeral expenses?
Right.
What they're like, how can I say I love you and I'm not taking care of you? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
What you do with the money is up to you. You know what I'm saying? I need
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I do what's right for me, which is
Right.
take care
Right.
of you and the kids. Because if I said I do or I love you or whatever, like that's what
Mm-hmm.
it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing is I want to talk about it from another perspective and another point of view. If you are responsible, if you are comfortable, financially kind of sort of there in your family, okay, siblings, cousins, whatever it might be, you need to be cautious because when someone passes away in your family, who do you think that debt falls upon?
Mm-hmm.
You.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because you're gonna have a bunch of people walking around. You got 100 people at this funeral or 50 people at this funeral, whatever it might be. Oh, so sorry for your loss. You know what I mean? Oh, good. Here's $50. Here's $100. Like, this bill 10 grand. What I'm gonna do with that? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then what happens? Like, we obviously have to bury the loved one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like I'm coming out of pocket three, four, five, $6,000 of unexpected expenses. You know what I'm saying? Just to bury someone. That's not my.
Right.
This is not my problem. It's not my.
Right.
I tell people, look, I love. You know what I mean? Look, you don't got life insurance. You're gonna be in a hole in the backyard. You better stop playing with me. You know, listen, you better take care of yours. Listen, you don't take care of yourself. Listen, it's this people. It is so unfair. I have been a part of
Mm.
way too many deaths, where the burden falls on 2 or 3 people to come
Yeah.
up with 8 grand, 10 grand, whatever.
Right.
And then everybody's like, oh, they gotta have a banging casket. Why? They rested. No, you about to get that cardboard thing over there because you ain't no life insurance. Hold up. That headstone, hold on 1 second. Can we paper mache something together? Can we get that right? No, no, no granite. Nope, no granite. Nope, 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 nope. You do that. Y'all need to stop playing. Get yourself some life insurance. Now, that's looking at it from like a morbid point of view, right? Like a
Mm-hmm.
mortality, like a people dying of, yes, taking care of yourself, right?
Yes, yes.
But now let's look at it from another perspective, because there's two kinds, right? There's your term insurance, which is essentially just death insurance, right? You're gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The only way you benefit is when you die. It's literally for someone else. Okay. But then there's the home insurance. There's your whole life insurance, right? That you can get it, it will never expire because term insurance expires. If you're paying $15, $20 a month for life insurance, that's term insurance. It will expire at some point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with that 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, it's going to expire. And then you will have zero life insurance. That's how
Mm-hmm.
that works. So you're going to need some permanent insurance, okay, along the way. And guess what? Permanent insurance, if you leverage it correctly in your financial portfolio, can actually be used as a tax-free opportunity to borrow from as your own bank.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I position a permanent insurance policy for a client's portfolio. This is a tax-free bucket that
Mm-hmm.
you can borrow from. No
Mm-hmm.
credit checks, no waiting periods of anything like that. This is
Mm-hmm.
money that while you're alive you can benefit. And then of course, yes, if you die, yes, your beneficiaries will receive this money and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can leverage this because it's all about having monies in these different buckets, right?
Right, right.
You got your stock, your brokerage, your retail, your retirement accounts, you got your life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things encompass your financial portfolio,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And you know, as well as I know it sounds odd. I know some people don't like to talk about it, but getting insurance on your kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's worth a conversation. It's
Right.
worth a conversation. It's very inexpensive. You'll be able to at least they'll have insurance for the rest of their lives. So you got to be thinking like, what did Beyonce say? She said, "What my children's children are taken care of and they ain't even born yet." You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But like that's life insurance. Like
Yeah.
that's generational planning. There's
Yeah.
a reason why the ethnic community, right? So me, the Latino community or the Black and Brown community, whatever, the ethnic community, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
at points remains stagnant, meaning that from generation to generation, we're
Mm-hmm.
always starting from zero again,
Right.
right? We're starting from scratch.
Right.
Whether it's the parents that are saying like, oh, you know, starting from scratch, that built my personality, that built my grind, so they can do it too. I mean, they can, but like that's no parenting. Like, wouldn't it be nice to like have a leg up, to not start from zero? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to pay off student loans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To be able to like, my goodness, because other communities, when people pass away, it's nothing but a fat check that
Right.
they get. Fat check, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Boom, right there. Wow, I can buy this beach house now. Wow, I can buy this like, wow. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So we have to
Mm-hmm.
start thinking next level thinking.
Right.
Get out of the the small thinking of like get a life insurance policy to bury you. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But like also you have to think about it like, you know what I mean? If you have a married loved one who's bringing in $100,000 a year and he dies, okay, you have enough to bury him, but like what about his $100,000 that he was bringing in every year?
Right. It's a loss.
That's lost. So what you gotta do about that? That's what you need the insurance for that.
Right. Right. So good. And it's serious because like somebody passing, they'll lay out all the things that they wanted, but it's no funds for all those things. And if you
Yeah.
can't do it, people are racking their brains, robbing Peter to pay Paul to do this lavish event, and then still in a hole after it happens. The hope is that again you can put those funds to the side, and as you shared, we are behind the game in this because there are some that have life insurance and they are set up, but when that loved one passes, that they're able to bounce back, and it's not too much of a dent to like mess them up where they're starting back at one again. And it's so important to have. I remember as a kid, the gerber will always send a letter like, hey, get some life insurance. And again, for kids, because and unfortunately, the time that we're living in, Philadelphia is going a little crazy right now, where like so many people are dying. And again, you just want to have it,
Mm.
whether somebody's not. I mean, we all will die, but whether it is on your block or not on your block, just so that you have it to be prepared for something that's happened. I did have a question about the term though. So when it's the term, when it's up, what happens to that money? Do you not get any of those funds, or they're all gone?
Lost. It's just a term insurance. Think of term insurance as like car insurance. You pay it
Mm,
every month, you'll never get it back.
got it.
Unless you get into a car accident, right? That's when the benefit happens.
Okay,
That's term insurance. You're gonna pay it every month, you'll never see it again. The only way you benefit is if you die.
got it. And the term again is that time frame. So if you had it for 10 years and you don't die within those 10 years,
So That's why it's so cheap. You gotta think about it. Term insurance is essentially life insurance, period. But term insurance, more specifically, is the company gambling on when you're gonna die.
Mm.
That's why it's so cheap. They're
Yeah.
looking at you. Okay, you're young, you're healthy, you're 30 years old, great. You know what I mean? You're getting this 10-year term. Yeah, you're probably gonna live past 40. $15 a month sounds good,
Mm.
and it's free money to them because they ain't gonna pay that
Right.
whatever policy, 100, whatever it might be. That's how you
So,
have to look at it because that's what it is.
got it. So they're getting the money, and then God forbid you do die, then they have to pay it out. But for
Mhm.
the other 25 people that did not die, they wrapped in that money for that time that the person had to term.
Yeah, well, actually, statistically speaking, with term insurance, under 2% of all term insurance policies throughout the entire world and in every single company ever get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if you had 100 people who had term insurance,
Mm-hmm.
less than 2 people would actually pay out a claim
Wow.
because people don't die in that time frame. That's
Mm-hmm.
why. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, whole life is so expensive." No, it's not. It's an asset. It's like buying a house.
Right.
It's an asset. You're gonna put this money away, and then you're gonna actually, it'll never expire. It's gonna just accrue value, with it. Like life insurance companies, they want you to get term insurance because they know there's a 98% chance that they're not gonna have to pay out that claim. They're
Wow.
probably gonna outlive it. But that whole life insurance, if you keep paying it, they know that they're gonna have to pay that.
Right. Right. And you got to be careful with that too, because like if you miss a payment, sometimes they be like, "Oh, wait a minute." So
Yeah,
make
you'll
sure,
have 3 months before it lapses, 6 months to reinstate after that.
you know.
And most people don't have that money to, like, if you miss that payment, chances are you're not going to have it 2 months later where you got to now pay 2 months payment or 3 months
Right.
payment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, but that goes to do with budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out what the budget is.
Right. Y'all budgeting these different things. I ain't gonna judge nobody. Whatever it is that you're
Yeah,
getting, make sure you put this one in there. This is one of the important ones. Just like
right.
when Sam get his stuff, this is like underneath there. You want to make sure you got this because it's so important to have, as
And
well as the other
it's such a
pieces.
good loophole. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, it's such a good loophole because
No.
it's tax deferred growth, borrow it tax free. Everybody wants these tax advantages. Life insurance is a great tax tool.
Got it. So get y'all friends. If you need a financial planner, talk to my friend here. He's going to help you. He's going to educate you, let you know
Oh no.
what your options are, teach you a little bit about stocks, good investments, when to pull, when to sell, when to buy, things of that sort. And again, at the end of the day, as much advice or as an advisor, as much advice as he could give is still your decision at the end of the day. But know that, excuse me, from our conversation tonight, we see that it comes from the heart of really wanting to help somebody else stay on top, helping somebody else to not get in a hole if you don't have to be in a hole. And it sounds like we don't have to be in a hole. We just have to ask. And that's another part of the elephant in the room. Sometimes we don't ask. These resources are available to us. He's saying he can do a consult and just give you some free information, and then you go from there. We've had several other guests. They say the same thing. All you gotta do is talk to them to find out what your options are, and then you find out where you go from there. But guess what? You have to be ready to do it. And this again, nobody wants to talk about money, but it's so very important that we have our finances in alignment. Things do come up. Something came up in my home. I'm grateful that I had the money to the side for it because that's what happens. When you're not a renter, you gotta pay when things gotta get fixed. And again, you want to have money put to the side to help in those times. And again, get whole life insurance, not term, because term is a gamble. You
Well,
may or may
both.
not die.
You want
Huh?
to get both.
Oh, I'm sorry, get both.
Yeah,
Get
both.
both. Try
Both.
both. And again, talk to the expert. I don't know. I'm just over here rambling. But he's correcting me. I appreciate it because I don't know. He knows.
No.
But so again,
All right.
connect, because it's some good information to help us to be financial savvy. What are some things that you want us to walk away with knowing? For sure, like a summation of tonight or something else that you didn't get to share. What's some things you want to make sure that we know as we walk away tonight?
That's a great point. I mean, the first thing that I really hope to convey is that it's never too late or too early to start. Okay, you don't need a ton of money. Okay, just minimum $50 a month. Every journey begins with a step. Every single one. You start walking in the in the right direction. All of a sudden, just your life starts changing for the better. You know what I mean? If you want something different in your life, you have to be willing to do something different. Find someone that you can trust. Find someone that you can confide in who looks like he or she is educating you. You know, with it, and work the plan. Find the plan. Once you have the plan, work the plan.
Once you have the plan, work the plan. And again, know that the plan is to help you. Any plan that's put in place, if you're going to therapy, that treatment plan is to help you to get from point A to point B.
And get that budget right.
Huh?
Get that budget right.
Get that budget right. It's helping us get from point A to point B. It's helping us to make it through that week. I work downtown, and if I don't budget or I don't pack my lunch, I'm in trouble. Why? Because it ain't too many $5 places.
Sure, packing your lunch, cooking. Listen, that saves so much money. You don't know how much that adds up.
Yeah.
You get that coffee $5 a day, $25 a week, $100 a month.
Yes.
$20 for lunch, $100 a week, $400 a month. That adds up. That's $500 right there. That could be investing.
It could be investing because why it takes as little as $50. And again, we put money in so many other things that we could do those things. Some of our offices have like coffee. Go get that coffee from the office. It's okay. Bring your little creamer. Right. You'll be good to go and things of that sort. So again, we want to plan. Get yourself a financial planner. Hopefully, Manny has said something that calls you to want to ring out to him. If he wants information, I will share so that you can have it. Why? Because he's going to help us. Again, hopefully he helps you. I'm going to reach out because I got a couple questions myself beyond today to make sure I'm in alignment for my future. So again, I thank you so very much for joining us, Manny. May you have a great, great evening. And I'm going to be in touch because I do have a couple more questions.
It sounds good, Jennifer.
Thank you again so much. Have a good
evening.
Thank
you so much, Chosen, for having me. I appreciate it. I hope it was helpful. And Jen, always love. I'll talk to you later.
Yes. Thank you. Bye. Yes, tonight we had Manuel Santiago, and he did a phenomenal job helping us talk about that elephant in the room of financial planning. It is not always easy, but guess what, friends? We have to do it because it is so important because we can't just living for today is amazing, but tomorrow we want to still be able to live and enjoy life and know that that next day and that next day and that next day is taken care of because we are planning today. Our quote of the day was, most people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. So again, friends, don't fail to plan. Please plan. Get your term and whole life insurance. Connect if you want to do some investment. Invest in you. At the end of the day, that's what financial planning is. Investing in you. And so many times we could buy different things and we're helping other people continue to be the best that they could be. But guess what? We got to start with ourselves. That's the part of self-care. We want to take care of ourselves. So make sure that you are investing in you. Be sure to join us next week as we will have Levon Kennedy for our cuffing season 101. Tongue-tied a little bit. I'm excited about that one because, the weather has changed. And some people don't know what cuffing season is. Come back next week to find out what it is. Because are you enjoying cuffing season? What does it mean? What does it look like? We're going to talk about that elephant that is surely in some rooms. So again, I appreciate and love all of you for tuning in, for sharing, for liking. Be sure to share this with someone else because it can help somebody else. Again, it's an elephant for a reason. We don't always want to talk about it. But somebody that could benefit from getting some help in financial planning, be sure to share so that they can find out how they can get on the right track by planning. Thank you again so very much. Until next time, peace.